Okay. Hi, I'm Leilani Scott Young. I'm playing Marianne Angelle in The Revolutionists. I'm a fourth year civil engineering major, theater minor, so left brain, right brain stuff.
Hi, I'm Julie Valdez. I play Charlotte Corday. I am also I'm a senior, but it's only my second year at Cal Poly. This is actually my first show here. And yeah, it's been a really great experience getting back into the theater, getting to work with all of these lovely people, the talented people in the cast and the crew. And I think I speak for everyone when I say that it's just really great to be back.
Hello, my name is Sadaf Sharif, and I play the character of Olympe de Gouges in The Revolutionists. I am a third year at Cal Poly Pomona, and I am a theater major with an acting emphasis. Yeah.
What drew you to this play?
Well, for the last many years that I've been at Cal Poly, I've always insisted, not that I've had to insist, the faculty is very supportive, but it's important to me that women playwrights are celebrated. And that's really something that has happened consistently. So that's one of the things that I look for. And I was particularly interested in this play because I was a history major before I was a theater major, before I went to graduate school for acting. I think that this play resonates in today's world in many ways. We're dealing with a lot of issues that have to do with rights for many people, not just women. The challenge of telling this story, three fictional characters, non-fictional rather, the three real people, Marie Antoinette, Charlotte Corday, and Olympe de Gouges, and then Marianne was a combination of a lot of Haitian activists. I thought it was a really challenging play to direct because I think it's a period piece, but it has a lot of contemporary overtones. And I thought for myself as a director, that would be interesting to investigate.
I also want to know how you are approaching this filming of the play, since we're not allowed to do it live, right, but we don't have to do it on Zoom this year.
Right.
It's very exciting.
The thing that's really exciting is the fact that it's exciting, and at the same time, I'll let the actors say, it takes a while to get used to after working for 6 weeks with masks on, and then all of a sudden you get to do it 4 times, I guess, actors without masks.
They gave you an amount that you can do it without masks?
Yeah, we can. Brian Newman was terrific with the COVID protocols. And so they were given permission to film without masks. To rehearse without masks Tuesday night, Wednesday night, tonight, and tomorrow night. And there are different tiers of people that have to be tested because the actors are maskless. So anybody that they come in contact with has to be tested on a 2 to 3 times a week basis, depending upon what tier they're on. And that was great because it allowed us to take the masks off. And I love seeing them and their whole face. I also think for me as a voice teacher, having a mask on and the fact that the voice goes forward and breathing, and this play is about breath, that was really challenging during rehearsals, and they really rose to the occasion.
What did it feel like for you guys to finally be able to take it off and be in the room with each other? And how did your character change? How did your body change? What was that experience like?
Yeah, it in simplest terms, it was just kind of weird to get used to because obviously I've seen their faces without the masks before, but I don't know, it just looked and felt different. I guess part of it was just because we had our stage makeup on, but also because we're so used to in rehearsals only kind of seeing your eyes move and things like that. And I felt that we were being a lot more expressive without the masks as well, just because we were able to kind of see that and feed off of each other's energy. So it had a really different kind of fresh feel to it, in addition to just being wildly liberating, just because, we're able to talk, we're able to breathe freely.
Yeah, to kind of piggyback off of that, maybe for me a little bit too much freedom. I feel like my face was like maybe over moving, like I'm finally free, I can move all how I want. But I was like, I always practice behind the mask being comfortable not focusing on what my mouth would look like and just feeling it. But then once the mask comes off, now I'll have to focus on acting with my mouth. Like I know, like I can't do what I usually would probably want to do. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
You were suddenly very aware of this like part of your body.
I felt naked. Yeah. You're just so used to one thing, and then snap, it's different.
For me specifically, like without the masks, I found myself engaging in a lot of like my own little idiosyncrasies that my mouth does that I just do under the mask that has become habit at this point after how long? And it's so weird to think like, no, we don't move our jaw like that on stage. People don't move their jaws like that. People don't move their mouths like that. People don't do this without masks. And so I think getting back into how to move your face like a person was something that I had to really get used to once again. Because, under the masks, like we're doing our own thing under here, Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, I feel like acting sometimes is learning how to move and speak like a person again in like a weird way.
Yeah.
Did working in this way, or like coming back after a year or year and a half or 2 years for some of you, have you noticed that your process as an actor has changed? Did you learn something from this process that was really different from past shows?
I think for me, I really had to become more aware of my breath specifically, because I feel throughout this process, like breath and, awareness of my own breathing and how that translates to voice was something that I was struggling with quite a bit, especially since, we haven't been on campus, haven't been having the opportunity to be able to do these kinds of like warm-ups and properly engage with our bodies and our voices and our breath the way that I feel as actors we are used to and we are supposed to. And yeah, that was something I feel like I had to really rework and become even more aware of it. Like there were times when I had to consciously think, are you breathing? Are you remembering to breathe? Are you remembering to... So yeah, it was definitely a strange thing, but I think at this point in the process I've gotten more used to it, but I still, like, now that we're on main stage, it's still something that I have to keep in mind. Like, yes, we are maskless now on main stage, but it's main stage, which is way different than a studio theater. It's a monster.
It's huge. It's hugely
Yeah.
different. Just so I can interject, the play has tremendous notes about breathing, and breathing is part of the sound design. But quite frankly, being on Zoom, I can speak for myself as an actor as well as a director. You're not in your mind body the same way you are when you're in a space standing.
Well, I took my first acting class like this summer, and we were already using masks. Thank you. And we were using masks in the room, but we would kind of get the opportunity to take the mask off when we were performing, but then put them right back on. So I kind of had a small taste or a small sliver of experience, but that was when I was learning how to do it. But now we incorporate breath and connecting the mind to the breath and the emotion. So it was definitely harder coming into the big space, especially we have to project more, just fill the room with our voice.
I also feel like I'm kind of learning as we go along as well, because I've never been mic'd for a show before. When I was in high school, we didn't have the budget for it, so we had hanging mics, but the teacher 100% insisted that we learn how to project.
Yes.
And so that was the first part of acting, and then we moved on to Zoom where it was kind of okay to talk a little softer. So coming here now, being mic'd and things like that, it's just been, I don't know, kind of weird shifting between what I once knew, what I've been doing, and what I have to do now. I didn't really know how to place it, but luckily we've got a crew that's been really helpful with like tips on where to place it, how to be taped, and all that good stuff.
I know sometimes preparing characters that are actually based on real people in historical events can be very different. So talk a little bit about how you approached these characters, what you like about them, a little bit about them.
Mine's kind of hard to wrap my head around at first because Marianne is not a real like physical person. She's an idea of many women coming together at the time, a lot of Haitian women. But for me, how Linda was helping me approach the character is thinking of a lot of strong women in our time now, like Michelle Obama, Regina King, all these strong figures, and how to embody their passion for like making change for not only women, but maybe the whole world. For my character, I had to embody that politicalness, had to become political. Before, I don't really know much about politics. Just looking at the women, seeing how they hold themselves up.
Was there anything about Marianne that you really love, that you really connect with, just on a personal level?
I love that how she holds herself like strong around her friends. Like, yeah, she's this badass that is gonna start a revolution with just her words, with the help of Olympe. But she's also like a human. She has a husband and kids, and she connects with Marie by being a mother, and can still laugh about Olympe's her jokes. It's just fun finding the balance of being human, but also being more than that, almost like a superhero.
Okay, so for Olympe, I had so much fun with this character because she is written very differently than how she was in actuality. In actuality, she had nothing but the audacity. She was bold about what she wrote. She took ownership for it. She even showed like Revolutionary Tribunal, like her own writings about Marie Antoinette. But in the play, Olympe is kind of more so focused on the art in political art, and is more so about theater for theater's sake, and including politics into that, but politicism isn't the core of what it is that she wants. And I personally think that is a little bit different than how I am. But there are aspects of Olympe, the way that she has written, that I very do identify with. Some like her want to leave a legacy, to want to be remembered, to want to create art and have that be her driving reason for almost everything that she does. And there are some aspects of Olympe that I think can be considered almost immature. She's rather emotionally reactive, emotionally mature. She can be a bit insensitive at times. And, I like to think that, yeah, we are all good people, but we do have those little things in us. And, I think with this role, I specifically had to learn to not be ashamed of those things, to not shame Olympe or to shame myself for it. Because it's human nature. All of us have our many facets to ourselves. Within the good, there is a sometimes bad. And not necessarily bad, but just not great. And I specifically really did identify with not wanting things to end, just because I like experiencing things and I like enjoying life, and it ends for everyone, of course. That's how it all is. But yeah, to get to play a character that I identify so deeply when it comes to things ending, whether that be in a literal sense or in like a play, it's super nice to see that even though this character is fictional, that her and I do share some of the same anxieties and worries, and that we almost kind of sort of not really have each other in that sense.
I knew about Charlotte Corday previously just because she's supposed to be like this huge figure in French history. So I was really excited when I found out that I got to play somebody who I admired in history. But the thing that connected me to Charlotte most was actually who she was in her own personal life. I found out there's not a ton on who she was before her assassination of Marat, but I read into her personal life and I found out that she has an older sister and a younger sister just like me. She was a devout Catholic like me. She was partially raised in a nunnery, that she was an avid reader, and as was I. So it was just like kind of little things like that that helped me kind of, I don't know, made the character very endearing to me. As for her politics, she was interesting in that she was definitely a revolutionist, but she was part of a faction that opposed radicalization, and that kind of schism happened because they beheaded the king. And even though I am also very highly opinionated, just like Charlotte, I am completely against radicalization and polarization. So that was also something that kind of spoke to me. But the similarities pretty much end there. But Charlotte still is somebody who I admire as a historical figure and as a character in this play because of her very strong sense of justice, about how she's willing to go all the way for what she believes in. There's a line that she has in the play where she says, "I'm not afraid to die, not for this." But underneath that also, when she has the scene in the prison where she tells Marianne, "I'm so scared." So I guess it kind of shows, I don't know, she's got a very human quality to her, despite her being portrayed as kind of like this fearless assassin. She is a young girl. She's 25 years old and she's gonna die, but she's still willing to go through with that. And yeah, she's still scared, but she's still willing to go through with it. And I really like that Lauren Gunderson also made her a very believable character, and that she's kind of awkwardly spoken. She says like a lot and says kind of, I don't know, she's got a very awkward way of phrasing things. You're a writery kind of writer. You're that lady writer guy. So that also just made her very endearing to me because I'm also kind of awkward when I talk. So I connected to Charlotte most just because I was able to kind of find things in her character and the way she was written that were crazily similar to my life.
I would love to talk about why you think people should watch this play. Like, what about this play resonates for you, like in the world today, or is there something emotional that is just feels really important for right now?
Well, one big reason that I think people should come and watch the play is because it is hilarious, and this cast and the crew are extremely talented. So it's definitely a work of art in its own right that I think people should see. But I think it also just kind of speaks to the day because we do live in a very turbulent time. And this play has very important themes about standing up for what you believe in and being there for each other. And I think people can come and enjoy it for what it is as a piece of art, but also leave with that message as well.
I personally think that this play, like while it is historical fiction, there are so many human qualities about these characters, and I think like taking history and relating it now to today, in even in art forms as well, I think it's super important because there are so many figures throughout history, throughout time, whose stories haven't been properly told or who haven't been properly represented, like Olympe de Gouges, Charlotte Corday, like Marianne Angelle, like the figure Marianne. I didn't know any of them before Revolutionists. I only knew Marie Antoinette, and that's because she was of the, aristocracy back then. And I think it is super important to give these characters voices. For the time way back when, 1793, Reign of Terror, they were given such unjust trials. They were beheaded. I know Charlotte Corday's real death was especially evil. If anyone wants to look into it that will be watching, they can, but I'd rather not go into it just because it's horrific. And they were treated so awfully, but to be able to give them a voice now, even if it is historical fiction, maybe isn't what would have went down back then, I think it is super important. And I think, like Julie was saying, like there are so many things going on, especially not only in our country but around the world. And also, like, I feel like our America especially is getting to a point of where there are big changes happening, and our generation, especially like millennials and everyone else, is starting to like, really want to demand for change no matter what it takes. And I think that we are heading towards a point where big things are going to happen, and I'm kind of excited for it. And I think it's really important. Revolutions happen in the world. Revolutions happened then, revolutions happen now. And I think, yeah, revolutionists and their revolutions are so important.
I love the bond between all four of these women who have nothing to do with each other and throughout history. Like Marie Antoinette would never be in a room with Marianne Angelle, never. And an assassin, and all the different elements coming together. It's just fun to see. Especially nowadays, like, I don't know, I don't have much girl group friends, and I now have a girl group friend that I'm really happy that I do have. Hi guys, besties. Also, it's really cool how I've noticed a lot of similarities between us as people and our characters. Like, I think the casting was so perfect. Like, Sadaf I could definitely see Olympe in Sadaf. Like they're quirky comedianness. That's not a word. And Julie, and Julie, she's so smart. Linda says this all the time, and it's so true. Stops. She always says no. Yeah. Yeah. It's just really cool seeing how we become our characters throughout the whole time working together. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
I think for me, it's just my sense of appreciation for like not only the cast and Linda, of course, but also like crew management, their directorial team, because yeah, of course, plays cannot happen without everyone else putting in other work besides just the actors on stage. But after being a year and a half on Zoom and finally being able to be in person, and not only getting to see my fellow actresses but also everyone, like cast, crew, management, like it's so good to see everybody and get to fully work with everyone and really appreciate like what it is that they are able to offer and their specific skill sets, whether that be like lighting, sound, costuming, set design. Like I love them all so much, and like this play, it was a huge part from everyone involved. Yeah, and I'm so appreciative of everyone and all their hard work and their effort and their time that went into it, because we would not be where we are in the process right now without any of them.
I would just like to say, obviously, shout out to all the designers and the crew who have been working their butts off to realize this, but I also wanted to give a special shout out to our stage manager, Julia, and our assistant stage manager, Noah, because they've been with us since even before the beginning. They were there at rehearsals. They've been there every single night later than all of us, working long days and long hours, and maybe their work isn't as obvious, but it is definitely in a huge part of this play nonetheless. So yes, I love you all very much.